we've had with Bartonville, and our freshwater supply districts have, as you know, sold municipal bonds. We've now sold over $53 million. We sold $53.5 million worth of municipal bonds. Our last sale this year was at a rate of 4.9%, 30-year bonds, fixed rate. It stands on its own, and it has credit enhancement on its bonds on its own. It's very fiscally strong. It operates different than most freshwater supply districts in that we have a full-time staff. We issue our own building permits out here. We do our own building inspections. We handle our own water system. Being a member of Upper Trinity, we buy wholesale from them and retail to our customers. Like I said earlier, we put over 3.5 miles of water and sewer lines in, and we're very pleased with the way the freshwater supply districts have been able to play a major role in enabling this project to be developed. And that's a little rough overview of the project. And it wouldn't be possible if it weren't for y'all making the water districts possible for us. And I want to thank y'all for that.
Well, thank you for your presentation, and thank you very much for having us out here this morning. We appreciate the use of the beautiful facility. Commissioner Jacobs, did you?
I don't know if Commissioner Carter wanted to make comments first. That would be certainly in order.
Well, thank you. Mr. Strauss, thank you for having us here. He's got his staff here with him. I think it'd be appropriate, Rick, if you to introduce your staff and tell us what and what they do if they work for you and that type of thing. And then.
Sure. I'll start with John Wagner, who's a partner in the development company, who's my partner. Next to him is Teresa Carson, who is Vice President in charge of sales and marketing out here. Next is Mark Wagner, who's my partner, he's President of the Republic. And everybody here, I think, knows Kevin. He's our city manager, and he keeps the place running, and he runs the building department, he runs the water department, he oversees the freshwater supply districts. He does just about everything there is, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tony Ruggieri is with the firm, helps us doing the retail. Pete Wagner is head of the construction out here, and Jake Wagner, who runs the home builders part of it.
Thank you. Let me give you just a brief history about Lantana. About when I came on the court, about the second meeting, this project was brought to the Commissioner's Court, and at that time it was by a different ownership. I certainly had some questions about that ownership, of what their ability to develop this beautiful piece of land. And it was about 1,700 acres at that time. And it was brought to us to look at as a county development district. And at those times, county development districts were not well thought of by a number of people. But so as we worked with that ownership, it began very apparent that they didn't have the staying power to accomplish the projects that we had in mind. There was a lot of resentment from the neighbors here regarding taking this beautiful undeveloped land and develop it. It's the old syndrome, let me move into the county last and then close the door. And so we set up a series of meetings with the residents of the area and had meetings. Pretty soon, the gentleman that had the land under contract brought Mr. Strauss and his group into the project. After we talked a lot of many meetings together, it was apparent that they had the staying power. They took me to some developments they had made, and being a Georgian, I love trees. And one of the things that impressed me on this development was that they had relocated trees to preserve them. So we talked about that. They had some other ideas that were contrary to what the residents wanted. Rick's company in the past has developed a lot of apartments. And that was one of the things that people here in this area were afraid of, was apartments. So we sort of negotiated that there wouldn't be any apartments built, and that helped a lot. But we had those series of meetings with the homeowners for well over a year, almost every other week, I suppose, at night. Got a lot of good input from those folks and all. Some of the people were concerned about what were going to happen to the wild animals in this area, and we asked them, well, what happened to the wild animals on the track that you had? So those sort of things went along well. Then Rick brought his team in, and I wanted to introduce, because it's been a real pleasure for me to work with them now almost over 7 years, and a lot of things have accomplished. I think this is a real partnership, but it's a partnership where we have not put a lot of money in as a county. The developer has contributed a tremendous amount of money to the area and to help us with the county. As an example, we did a premier study on 407 back about 5 years ago, and the developer stood up and gave us a tremendous gift to us to help make that project possible. Then the foundation that Rick's talked about, one of the things that we went to school board, which is very important. One of the things that attracted me to this area and the problems that we're having was the residents, when we have those meetings, it was an hour and a half commute for their kids to go to school on the school bus in this area, because there was no schools in this area. And even if a parent drove them, it was about 45-minute drive up and 45-minute drive, so they were taking an hour and a half out of their day. So one of the things we did was contact some of the school board members at that time, and one that you folks will remember, Ann Wendell, and she was very Judge Wendell's wife that has passed away now. And one of the things that we did was talk to her and the other school board people to get the commitment to put this Race Elementary School here and to look at future things, future school sites here, to save those people that. And that's been a real blessing, I think. And then the foundation that Rick talked about has really been a neat opportunity for the residents of this area. If you recall, last year we cut the service centers down by 20%. Rick and I got together, and because of that foundation, Rick was able to restore that 20% to several of the service agencies, and we appreciate that. It's been a great joy to work with Lantana over these years. I think it's a classic example of what can happen when the government and a developer have a common interest for doing good for the area.